Hi everyone, my name is Matt. I'm the Youth and Family Pastor at Cornerstone Church in Marshfield. I'm here today with your Cornerstone Connection, a daily devotional. I'm wondering today as you start your day, maybe or you're ending your day, or maybe you're in the middle of it. I wonder, have you ever had one of those moments where you feel like God has told you something, or maybe you've read something from His Word and you feel like it's speaking right to you, and it's one of those things where God is telling you this is going to happen, or you will do this thing. And your only response that you have is, yeah, right, God. Like, there's no way that that's going to happen. There's no way, God, that I'm going to do that. I can't see how I can get from point A to point B. There's no way this is going to happen. Yeah, right. Well, today, as we enter into Genesis chapter 13, we continue to follow the story of a man named Abram, which of course he's famously known as Abraham, but we're not to that point in the story yet. And in Genesis 13, up to this point, what we know already is that Abram is the husband of Sarah, or Sarai, right? And the thing we know about Sarai is that she is barren. And what we find out in chapter 12 is Abram, after he's been called by God, and they were going to do some journeying, we find out that Abram is 75 years old. So not only have they not been able to have children, but they're old people who are unable to have children. So this whole promise that God has given them up to this point, that God is going to bless them and make them into a great nation, that's going to be a blessing for all nations in the entire world, it's going to be one of those moments where Abram and Sarai said to one another, yeah, right. Like, what is God saying? And yet, they followed him and they walked by faith. And no doubt they had moments where they took missteps and screwed up and did things that were not godly. And yet they were still walking by faith. And then we get to Genesis chapter 13, and there's Abram and there's his family member Lot, who's traveling alongside of him and Sarai. And Lot and Abram decide they're going to go separate ways. And Abram goes to the land of Canaan, and Lot decides he's going to go to the land of Sodom. And we get to verse 14, and Abram has separated from Lot, and the Lord has a message for Abram again. He's going to double down on his promise to Abram. And here's what he says all the way through verse 18. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward, southward, eastward, westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring also can be counted. Arise, walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I will give it to you. So Abram moved his tent, and he came and he settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. There we see Abram trusting the Lord, and even though his circumstances looked pretty bleak, being married to someone who is barren and being old in age himself, he still walked by faith and trusting in the Lord who is giving him this promise. But I wonder if in the back of Abram's mind, as the Lord said, okay, I'm going to give you all this land. Maybe Abram's going, okay, I can buy that. But your offspring are going to be as the dust of the earth. And he goes on to say, if you can count the dust of the earth, if you can count all the particles of dust of the earth, that's what your offspring is going to be like. Meaning you can't count it. It's going to be innumerable. It's going to be beyond your imagination. There's no way you'll ever be able to count how much offspring you'll have. God says, Abram, that's what your offspring is going to be like. That's how blessed you will be. I have to imagine Abram went, yeah, right, God. Like, there's no way this is going to happen to me and to my wife. And yet, if you know the rest of the story, it does happen. Because it won't be too much longer, and eventually Abram and Sarai will become Abraham and Sarah, and they'll be blessed with a child. His name will be Isaac. And then eventually after Isaac will be Jacob. And then it'll be the 12 sons of Jacob that will become the 12 tribes of Israel. And the people of Israel grow and multiply. And the story goes on and on and on. You know, friends, oftentimes I'm tempted to say, yeah, right, God. There's no way this is going to happen. And yet my life as well is living proof that God can do what I don't think or what I don't see happening. I had no way of understanding how I was going to be in full-time ministry. I graduated with an elementary education degree from a public university, and I got a job as an elementary school teacher. And I said, Lord, I feel like I'm called to full-time ministry, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. And through his own unique way, even with my resistance at times, God found a way to put me in full-time ministry. And I've been there for the last 10 years. So when we are tempted to say, yeah, right, God, God is going to prove that if he has a plan, if he has a purpose, and he's going to accomplish it, he's going to accomplish it. It's going to happen. So friends, I don't know what's in front of you. I don't know what promise you feel like God has given you. I don't know what thing God has said to you, either by others or by his Spirit or through his word, that has made you go, yeah, right. But just know, if you've said that to him, there's a good chance that he'll prove himself right. Have a great day, friends. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.